Hi, I'm Nina Kominiak, a human performance expert with quite significant experience in the equestrian world as well. Horse technology has advanced rapidly over the last decade. Sensors are better, data is richer, insights are more precise, and yet many of the hardest challenges in performance, training, and welfare still come down to human decisions. Today, I want to explore that human layer. How riders, trainers, and owners actually use performance data in real world environments. My work sits at the intersection of human performance and decision making. I support riders, trainers, owners, and HorseTech teams when performance data is available, but decisions still feel unclear, uncomfortable, or high risk. This usually happens when pressure, emotion, and responsibility are present. In other words, when decisions really do matter. Like said, HorseTech is advancing fast. Just take a look at the past HorseTech conference presentations, and there's more and more interesting topics year after year. At the same time, human adoption and decision making have not kept pace. More data does not automatically lead to better decisions. In fact, many breakdowns occur not because data is wrong, but because people struggle with how to act on it under pressure. This is primarily a human decision making problem, not a technology problem. I'll briefly walk through why good data doesn't always change behavior, how performance data is actually used in practice, what pressure does to decision making, and why alignment between data and feel and horsemanship matters. I'll also share where I support this work in practice. This is the most important idea in this talk. Data never enters a neutral mind. It enters confidence or doubt. It enters emotional attachment. It enters pressure and expectations. Before data changes behavior, it changes how someone feels about a situation. And that directly affects decisions. In real environments, data is rarely misused intentionally. What we see instead are very normal human patterns. People seek confirmation for what they already believe. They focus on a small number of familiar metrics, and they interpret information through confidence, stress, or concern. These patterns are not failures, not at all. They are actually very human. This is totally normal human behavior. Pressure fundamentally changes how decisions are made. Attention narrows, habits take over, timing begins to matter more than detail. Importantly, pressure does not remove skill. Pressure limits access to information. That's why experienced people can still struggle to make clear decisions in high-stake situations. I wanted to share a couple of examples about decision-making and data, and this one here, I see this pattern often. We have good data, but pressure and attachment override the interpretation. Early warning signals are present. The data is accurate and consistent. No one is disputing it. But acting early feels uncomfortable. There may be competition schedules, investment, or emotional attachment involved. Waiting feels safer than acting. So the decision is delayed. By the time action is taken, a small issue has become a much bigger one. The data wasn't wrong. acting on it under pressure was the challenge. This pattern is well documented in elite sport. Data flags risk early, but under competition pressure, decisions get delayed. The same dynamic shows up in equestrian environments, not because people don't care, but because pressure changes how information is seen. Emotional attachment to the horse, the plan, the timing, it often makes it harder to act early, even when the data is clear. Another common situation is when the data looks fine, but the rider or trainer feels something is off. Instead of that information being integrated calmly, the mismatch creates doubt. Confidence drops, decisions stall, or overcorrect. Over time, trust in both data and experience begins to erode. The problem isn't data or feel. It's the lack of integration between the two. This conflict between data and feel is also well documented in human performance research. When people don't know how to reconcile the two, confidence drops and decision making suffers, even if there are good tools available, you name it. This truly validates horsemanship without dismissing data. One of the most unhelpful narratives I hear is data versus feel. Feel is not guesswork. It's actually experience and pattern recognition. Data is structured feedback. Problems arise when one is prioritized without the other, or when alignment is not explained. The goal is not choosing between data and feel. It's using both in service of good horsemanship. In practice, what works better is often simpler. Fewer metrics, better timing, patterns over single sessions, and treating data as a conversation. It's not a verdict. When data and horsemanship are integrated effectively, confidence tends to stabilize. And that stability, it's very important because it is supporting better decisions and way more consistent performance. When that integration does not happen, that's where human gap begins to show up, and we have a problem. So, let's talk about what I call human gap. So, this is where interpretation under pressure, trust in the moment, confidence versus doubt, and unclear decision ownership intersect. This is often where performance, welfare, and outcomes are actually decided. The work I do focuses on this gap that we just talked about. So, alongside my work in human performance, I have developed a set of practical decision support tools designed specifically for environments where data, pressure, and responsibility collide, which is exactly what we see in equestrian sport. I use a human-centered decision support approach, a practical framework for interpreting performance data under pressure, integrating data with feel and horsemanship, and supporting clear decisions. The goal is not more data. It's better use of the data that we already have, that already exists. In practice, this work comes together in three parts. First, clarifying the decision moment. What decision is actually being made right now and under what pressure? Second, integrating data and feel, looking at patterns, context, experiences, all this together. And third, an interpretation check, understanding what the data supports and what it does not support. So, why this is so hard to do alone? Even very experienced people struggle to do this on their own. Bias and emotional attachment are invisible from the inside. Pressure, it always is distorting judgment without announcing itself. More data increases responsibility, not clarity. Teams oftentimes amplify hesitation. And technology cannot support the human decision moment. As much as I love technology and I love to get all the data from equestrian events, the horse, environment, you name it, technology cannot support the human decision. And that's where outside decision support is adding value. The space I work is what we have been calling the human gap. So the space between having data and knowing what to do with it. It's the gap between insight and action, and between confidence and hesitation. This is where performance, welfare, and outcomes are often won or lost. And it's where technology alone is not able to solve the problem. So most of the work I do is short-term and decision-focused. It's centered on real decisions people are facing right now. Occasionally, the same challenges show up repeatedly: confidence erosion, chronic stress, or difficulty trusting decisions. When that happens, longer-term mental performance support can be helpful, and I offer that when appropriate. The anchor always remains performance and decision quality. In practical terms, this work can look different depending on the context. Sometimes it is supporting riders and trainers in integrating data without losing feel or confidence. Sometimes it's working with owners around clearer decision making under pressure. And sometimes it's advisory work with tech teams focused on adoption and real-world use. The common thread is helping people think more clearly with the information they already have. So this work is delivered through structured decision support engagements. We define the real decision, apply the framework, and support a clear next step. These are those short-term, focused engagements built around real situations, not open-ended support. When decision pressure is ongoing, support can extend, of course, but the structure, it always remaining the same. So why this is my lane? My background is in human mental performance and decision making, with experience across equestrian sport, professional golf, and other high pressure environments. My work focuses on how performance data influences confidence, trust, and decision in real world context. So I leave you with this today. The future of HorseTech isn't just sensors or more data. It's better alignment between technology and the humans using it. Supporting that human layer is essential for performance, welfare, and trust. Thank you so much for your time and attention. If these challenges resonate, I'm always happy to continue the conversation, so you can find my email address, phone number, and social media handle on the slide. Thank you again.